Hey everybody, welcome back to this week's edition of the Suffolk Sports Report. I'm Josh DePeel.
And I'm Di Pajeski. We've got a lot of topics we're hitting today, so stay tuned because this week's episode starts right now.
Hey guys, Lucky here from the Boston Celtics, and you're about to watch the Suffolk Sports Report.
Oh, that's a catch. Tatum drives down and throws it down. Pressure was saved by Raj on his belly. Way back it carries. And that ball is gone.
The MLB playoffs are underway and we've seen some surprising developments. The Houston Astros have moved on to the ALCS. After receiving a lofty punishment from MLB Commissioner Rob Manfred for their cheating scandal, the Astros finish off the Oakland Athletics 11-6 and will now face the winner of the Yankees-Rays divisional series. Can you imagine if it was an Astros versus Yankees in the ALCS? For Red Sox fans, who do you root for? That's a precarious situation if I've ever seen one.
The Los Angeles Lakers are one win away from capturing the chip. Despite a valiant effort by the Miami Heat in Game 4, AD and LeBron took over in the fourth quarter. Kentavious Caldwell-Pope made two big baskets down the stretch to add to his 15 points. His scoring off the bench has become an incredibly valuable commodity for this team. When KCP scores more than 15 points, the Lakers are 12-2 in the regular and postseason. Game 5 will be later tonight, with the Lakers just one win away from claiming dominance down at the bubble.
Two NFL games have been rescheduled by the league. Both the Titans, Bills, and Patriots Broncos games were moved from their Sunday slots to Monday and Tuesday. This is the second straight week that the NFL has moved the Titans and Patriots games. Now, I know this might seem a bit out there to say, but I really don't think the NFL has a handle on this whole situation. The lack of preparedness and precedent being set has simply not been there. For some unknown reason, the league chose not to include extra bye weeks this year to make up for the inevitable amount of canceled games that would come during this year. So now, we're having teams play without their best players on short rest. This is going to come back and bite the league in its derriere in the coming weeks. Now, Di, while we're on the subject of football, who's on your fantasy radar this week?
Thanks, Josh. So how about them Cowboys? Regardless of their atrocious record at 1-3, with their only win an absolute gift from the Atlanta 28-3s, the Cowboys offense, led by Dak Prescott and the potent passing attack, has hit unprecedented marks. Any of their receivers, from Amari Cooper, Gallup, CeeDee Lamb, and Wilson, and tight end Schultz, are high-scoring threat and are guaranteed production. This trend in the passing game will be a constant theme throughout the season as their atrocious defense will put them in big holes early and force Dak and company to throw their way back into games. This won't be the case in Week 5, as they'll probably look to control the game against their fellow abysmal NFC East rivals, the Giants. If you're looking for a solid option that's still in waivers, snag Cedric Wilson or tight end Darren Schultz. Also, it's time to put out an APB for Kenyon Drake. The Cardinals wear red and white, but if they wore red and white stripes, I'd be making so many Where's Waldo jokes. Seriously though, what's going on with Kenyon Drake? Underperforming his draft value is a massive understatement, as he struggled for yet another game against a not-so-great Carolina defense. Touches aren't the problem, as he's dominating offensive snaps over backup running back Chase Edmonds. Is the entire offense experiencing some growing pains as they drop yet another game against a winnable opponent? Anyways, Drake will need to start producing or he will end up as one of the biggest fantasy busts of the 2020 season. Now that's all I've got for you today. I'm going to toss it over to our friend JD for this week's Conti Countdown to Kickoff.
Thanks, Josh, and welcome to this week's rendition of the Conti Countdown to Kickoff. This week, we'll be taking a look at the Patriots' disastrous loss at Kansas City, the week ahead versus the Broncos, and the threat of a coronavirus outbreak within the Patriots organization. The Cam Newton-less Patriots embarrassed themselves against the Chiefs on Monday night, falling to the reigning Super Bowl champs by a score of 26-10. The Patriots' defense came out strong, holding the Chiefs to only 6 points in the first half. Pat Mahomes had just 236 passing yards compared to the 385 he had against the Ravens in Week 3. While the defense held its ground for the majority of the game against one of the most explosive offenses in football, the absence of Cam Newton was incredibly visible on the offensive side of the ball. Backup quarterback Brian Hoyer looked like he should have been playing for the New York Jets instead of the New England Patriots. He threw for just 130 yards and had one embarrassing interception. Hoyer was in fact so bad that Coach Belichick benched him in the middle of the third quarter. Most Pats fans felt this should have happened right after halftime, as Hoyer made a fool out of himself on the last drive of the half, where he attempted to call a timeout that he didn't actually have. He left the Patriots stranded in field goal territory and lost the chance to tie the game going into the half. With Hoyer benched, second-year quarterback Jarrett Stidham came into the game. Before the signing of Cam Newton over the summer, all indications were pointing to Stidham being the Patriots starter, and he proved why, throwing his first NFL touchdown pass in N'Keal Harry on an absolutely gorgeous pass. Stidham's only interception wasn't even his fault, as Julian Edelman's missed catch led to the ball in the hands of a Chiefs defender. If Cam is out for another week, Patriots fans can sleep a little easier knowing Stidham's at the wheel. Cam Newton remains on the COVID-19 reserve list, as he awaits his second negative test in accordance with league protocol. Reigning Defensive Player of the Year Stephon Gilmore has also contracted COVID-19 and will presumably miss this Monday's matchup. It is possible that Gilmore contracted the virus from Newton, as it was reported the two had dinner together last Friday night before Newton was aware he had the virus. All of the Patriots' tests came back negative on Wednesday, which means that Monday's matchup with the Broncos will likely be played, assuming disaster doesn't strike. The Broncos are currently 1-3, with their only win coming against the just-end-the-season New York Jets. They won't have the advantage of their mile-high stadium against the Patriots, so look for the Patriots defense to show up against sophomore quarterback Drew Lock in his second career start. Watching Bill Belichick embarrass young quarterbacks is always fun, and with Jarrett Stidham likely starting on Monday, it'll be a sophomore quarterback showdown. That's all from this week's rendition of the Conti Countdown to Kickoff. Back to you, Josh.
Thanks, JD. That's all we've got for you guys this week. We'll see you guys on the next episode. Check it.